Good afternoon, Facebook fam. This is Haya coming to you live from New York City. And later today, we will recap on part 4 of the fire that's burning in my heart and soul in reference to the tweaking of my vegan regimen, as well as some of the things that has been resurfacing in my life from the time I made a decision to start this purge and this cleanse of people, places, and things that just serves me no purpose in my life anymore. However, right now I need to share some ugly with you. And the reason for sharing this ugly, the universe has a way of allowing things to resurface in your life, especially if it's some things that you haven't dealt with or you have dealt with. So, what I would like to share with you for starters is that I've been lied on. Now, that's no big deal because it certainly has been hundreds, thousands of times, I'm sure. And most, just like this one, I didn't know about it. However, this lie that had been told on me lingered for some years, and it hurt someone that was dear, that is still dear to my heart. And as fate would have it, when my sister girl's mom had passed, there was this fire lingering in my heart to contact her and have a dialogue with her. And I was a bit apprehensive because of something that had transpired when we were kids. And I remembered it. And I always thought in my heart that the dismantling of our closeness, of our relationship, was based on that particular thing that I had done. Now, I'm going to share with you what this was. I was around 13 going on 14 years of age, and this particular person that is mutual friends of me and my sister girl, this person actually created a situation to drive a wedge between me and my bestie. Now, mind you, I was so naive about a lot of things in reference to how evil, cruel, and vindictive people can be. And especially due to the fact that I held this person close to my heart as well, and never in a million years did I ever think that she was jealous and that she would try to hurt me. The both of us, that is. So let's fast forward. Okay, so back in the day, you remember when we were kids, we used to get these lunch tickets, the meal tickets for lunch. Now, 99.9% of us got those free lunch tickets because I don't ever remember, maybe a few times my parents had to pay until that we got the applications cleared straight or whatever. At any rate, I had an extra free meal ticket. And I think this particular day might have been one of those favorites, pizza, hot dogs, hamburger, or some junk food or something like that. And I remember my bestie asking me for the extra lunch ticket, and it was no big deal. I gave it to her. So let's fast forward. Keep that peace of mind. So this person who's a mutual relationship between the two of us, I won't say friend or any of that because friends don't do things like that to each other. So there was this situation where she was asking me all these questions as if to find something negative about, for me to say something negative about my bestie. In all honesty, there was nothing negative to say except for, and I can't say except for what I did say was, I gave her this lunch ticket and she promised to give it back and she never gave it back. Some kiddie BS, childish play. Remember, 13 going on 14. And there was really nothing to that. So in the process of that negative thing, and I'm saying negative thing that came out of my mouth to this person who was supposed to be close to the both of us, she went back to my bestie and devoured this information, but pretty much twisted it up and made it into something that it wasn't. So let's fast forward to that negative thing being said, and it actually got back to the parents of my best friend. And okay, let me say this. I'm trying not to cry, break down and boo-hoo, because even though I've allowed myself to heal and let certain things go, and I've had a dialogue with my bestie since then, and I'll share that with you, is that whenever I talk about a story, whenever I share a topic, I relive that topic, that story, as if it's happened this day. So if I tell a story, I bring it to life. I put myself in that position, whether it's mine or someone else's, and I feel, and this is part of my passion. So, okay, fast forward back to that whole incident, getting mixed up, confusion in the family. At that moment, that was my understanding of the dismantling of our relationship. Now, remember, we were kids. So that's when certain bullying started, on the school bus, the isolation, being separated. This is what I remember. And so I had to suck it up and deal with it. And I have to tell you, that was a very difficult time for me, because at that time, my dad was in New Jersey, and we had recently relocated. My mom had relocated us down south, and I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be with my dad. But what made it easier for me to be there was having really good sister girl friends in my life, like this sister that I'm telling you about now. And to have someone to come in between us and create a wedge left a really painful gap in my heart. Okay, fast forward. So years passed. We were never close again, and I carried this thing in my heart, and I had no one to talk to about it. But years passed, and I'm telling you, I don't know if it was a year or two or so since my girlfriend mom had passed, because time flies so fast, but let's say about a year and a half. Excuse me. And after her death, her mom kept coming to me in my dreams, and she kept telling me to go to her daughter and talk to her. And I was a bit apprehensive, and I kept saying, no, I can't do that, because she doesn't like me anymore. She's upset with me because of what I did. So after the third time, I obeyed, and I picked up the phone, and I called my sister girl, and we're having this dialogue, and I'm talking to her. I'm telling her how much I missed her, and that I was sorry for what I did. And I asked her if she remembered, and she said, well, no. And so I began to share that story with her. And ironically, she never even remembered that. But I remembered it because that was my pain. Okay, so let's fast forward. And then she said, well, Yvetta, I was very hurt when you did X, Y, and Z. And I said, what? I said, that never happened. And so we're having this dialogue about this thing that I was being accused of. And I asked her, I said, well, who told you that? And she said, well, I'm not going to say, and I don't even remember. And I do understand that she remembers. I understand that she said she doesn't remember because she doesn't want to start confusion. Because just as I shared my story with her and she asked me who was it, I wouldn't tell her. I said, that's not important, because it's not about attacking anybody over some childhood stuff. But I will say this. Dr. Mother Maya Angelou said, whenever a person shows you who they are, believe them. When a person shows you who they are the first time, believe them. And I'm not negating the fact that people don't grow and people change, but this person that I'm telling you about has done several cruel things, repeated offenses that clarifies and validates who she is from the day one, that when she did this thing when we were a child. But me being who I am, I continue to overlook the situation because I loved her. But that last straw, and I'm going to leave that piece right there, I'm done. But back to my sister girl. So I'm having this dialogue with her, and I'm sharing with her, what my pain was. And she shared with me what her pain was, or what it was she thought I did because I was lied on. And I told her that never happened. And as we was having this dialogue, she was clear that I never did what was ever said that I was supposedly had done. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this now is because on this post yesterday, that piece resurfaced. I'm always sharing with the fact that I love you because that is genuine. So there was a comment that was on my post that made me remember that I didn't finish dealing with this situation because I promised my girlfriend that I would be home soon and that we would sit down and have a dialogue and catch up on some things. And she shared with me how much she was hurt and how she missed our friendship because we were so tight. And then all of a sudden this thing happened, but she never remembered the part that really happened, the thing that I knew that I had did as a kid, and so with the fact that her mom kept coming to me in my dream and telling me to go to her, and I was just clearly showed how she was going to respond to me initially, and then in the dream her mom had actually reprimanded her and told her, and even her dad in the dream had told her, you need to deal with this is your piece. And as we had this dialogue and recapped and reconnected the lies that can destroy friendships, that can destroy families, and for me, I don't hold grudges, but when a certain thing is done, you can't come back into my personal space because you've already showed me who you are. Now, I said all this to say, I'm going to pick up the phone and call my sister girl and have another dialogue with her. And at some point, I am going home to clean this mess up between me and her from a spiritual connection and have that hug that is long overdue. But to get back to the person who did this thing, I'm just so disappointed because when I embrace you and I love you and I bring you into my personal space, that means I hold you in high regards. And I don't know if I should be more hurt about who the person is opposed to certain people who they went and lied to me on repeatedly. And these family members held on to that lie and just jumped on the bandwagon and just literally drug my name through the mud based